Working parents, you've got 72 hours left to do this because the government is urging you to take up its offer of 30 hours of funded childcare before the scheme kicks off on Monday.
But the Department for Education has previously said an additional 35,000 staff and 70,000 places would be needed by this September. So, is there enough space to meet demand? Well, Minister for Early Education, Stephen Morgan, joins us now. How's this going to work there? I know you've been working very hard on recruitment and the early learning places have as well, but it's still very difficult, isn't it, to find the right staff and the right places, and for those places, even with your increase, to make it work.
Well, good morning, both. And we absolutely want to make sure that every child in every part of our country gets the best start in life. And that's why we're investing in good quality early education across the country. We'll be spending £9 billion on early education by this time next year. We want to make sure we deliver on our promise to parents to make sure they can access 30 hours of funded government childcare from September, from the 1st of September. And we've been working really closely with early years providers and councils to make that promise a reality. So I'm really urging all parents to check their eligibility by checking the Childcare Choices website to make sure that they are eligible and then access this brilliant support for families across our country.
How do they actually access it? They go to the website, let's assume that they find that they are eligible to get 30 hours of childcare. What do they do then?
Then they get issued with a code. They can then take that code to a provider and then access the provision. We've been working really hard with providers, as I said earlier, across the country to make sure there are sufficient places across the country. We're investing in school-based nurseries as well, where we need those in the most important parts of the country where we see deprived communities. So we're investing in provision across the country so that we can deliver on that promise to parents and make sure that children access good quality childcare wherever they are in the country.
Yes, problem is that providers continually express concerns about staffing and funding so they can operate at that capacity. And the national insurance increase by this government hasn't helped. It's going to cost them about £18,600 on average per setting per year. So it might feel to them as though you're giving with one hand, taking away with another.
Well, I want to pay tribute to the thousands of providers that are delivering on the childcare entitlement offer that we've been developing
brilliant.
in
but just
the last
on that
year or so.
issue, if you could address that, you know, that they're still saying it can't work at capacity which you need in order to deliver on these places.
Well, it is working, and I'm absolutely confident it will work from next week as well. We've put £9 billion into early education. We invested in an expansion grant to support providers deliver that provision for parents. We've reset the relationship with the early years sector. I think they're hugely valuable people that are making a huge difference in communities and giving children the best start in life. And I pay tribute to what they've been doing to make sure we can deliver on this promise to parents from next week.
Basic question, with 3 days to go, how do they find providers? How do they research them?
So check out the Childcare Choices website. If you're in doubt and have concerns, then you should approach your local authority. But we've got a rich tapestry of provision for early years across our country. Fantastic provision that's doing really good work to give children really good starts to their life and improve their outcomes later in life.
Well, good luck with this. Can we turn to a much darker story that's emerged this morning, which in your office you will have a great interest in, I'm sure, and knowledge of. Reports this morning there's been a 72% increase in youth sextortion. That's obviously sexual blackmail online. And 97% of those victims are schoolboys, effectively, young males. This is really disturbing, isn't it?
Well, absolutely right, and that's why it's really important we have guidance in place to share with schools and colleges so that teachers can have those conversations in schools and support is available for children. Obviously, the government passed the Online Safety Act, which is important legislation to protect children, and our priority as a Department for Education, is the safety and protection of children.
What do you think's driving the increase? I mean, it's a massive increase.
I've not seen the details of what you describe yet, Richard, but I'm very keen to look at the specific facts. But obviously, making sure that teachers and school support staff have the support that they need and the resources that they need to have those conversations with young people and make sure there's appropriate support in place is absolutely our priority.
The government is going to the appeal court today, or government lawyers are at least, to try and overturn that injunction against the hotel in Epping, in Essex. Our viewers constantly say, read the room, come up with a solution to these asylum hotels. Do you back the government trying to overturn this injunction?
Of course I do, and we inherited an asylum system which was in chaos. We're taking action. We're working at pace to get this right. 35,000 people with no right to remain in the UK have now been deported. There's the landmark deal with France that we've secured. We've increased the number of decisions being made on asylum cases, and also obviously we're committed to ending asylum hotel use. It's already down to 200, up from 400 in the past, and we will do that by delivering on our manifesto commitment by the end of this Parliament. I understand people's frustrations. I am frustrated by the system myself. We've got to take action, and we're absolutely committed to making that happen.
Well, the Refugee Council have said that they can do it much quicker than 29 if you look at their idea, which is within 6 months, if you had like a special processing for those that are likely to get asylum. If you looked at them and processed them quickly, then we could have all the asylum hotels closed within 6 to 8 months, because there will be enough slack in the system to deal with the others. And they're just saying, look, we need a different look at this. We're in different times and we need to take a different look at it.
Well, what we're not going to do is to promise something which is a gimmick that doesn't achieve anything. The previous government had the Rwanda scheme that was £700 million that delivered 4 volunteers to Rwanda. These are serious issues. They require serious consideration. And what we're doing is investing in solutions that will make a difference. On the deterrent, our partnership with France is key, on preventing small boats crossing, breaking, smashing those gangs, and then working hard on deportations and making sure we've got a fair asylum system with an appropriate appeal system in place to bring those numbers down. And this is absolutely something the government is prioritising.
But as a professional politician, just to go back to Kate's question a couple of minutes ago, you must be really concerned that in launching this appeal today to overturn the judgment on the Bell Hotel last week, you are running full tilt into a gale of public opinion. Of course, there are people out there who support what you're doing, but the polls show, calls to this programme, Show Every Day show, that the vast majority of people have just had it. They're up to there with the whole asylum thing. They've had enough. They're washing their hands of it. Many of them support what Farage said 2 days ago and went on to say again yesterday, that you, as I say, you're running full tilt against the tide.
Well, we've got a manifesto commitment to close all asylum hotels by the end of this Parliament. That's exactly what we're getting on delivering. Well, they were at 400, they're now down to 200. I understand people's frustrations, but we are relentlessly focused on achieving a system that works and is fair for the country. We've reduced the costs of asylum hotel accommodation from over £9 million a year to now £5 million a day. More work is required, and that's absolutely the priority of the Home Office and colleagues to make that happen.
But the opinion polls keep showing that the public, it's not that they don't believe you, it's just that they don't think that what you're doing is nearly enough.
Well, compare our action in government in our first year and what we intend to do as next steps with what Nigel Farage set out this week, a 3-page document that wasn't detailed, that asks more questions than gives answers, is not serious for our country. This is a serious issue. It requires serious consideration. We're getting on delivering for the British public, and we'll do the things that we set out in our manifesto. OK, well, good luck with the rollout of the funded childcare. Let's hope that works well. Thanks for your time this morning, Minister.
Good to speak to you. That was Stephen Morgan, Minister for Early Education.